And we back, baby. This is not episode 129, but we'll say it's episode 129 of the Werkz. As you can see, I have two different guests on the right side of the room. It's not your usuals, Chris and Rob. So this is going to be a special episode that I wanted to bring up. It's going to be called the Father Pod, where we talk about fatherhood, becoming fathers. I kind of grew up with these guys, becoming, a teenager to a man to a father. And we've been friends for a really long time, and family that turned into from friends to family and family to even higher level than that. I mean, because you got family that you don't even talk to, but, these guys have been ride or die, and I've been with them for the long run. So we're going to talk about fatherhood, talk about our past experiences, sports, and all that stuff. So we'll get into that. But I do want to say thank you guys for joining me. We've been trying to get this scheduled down for a while. I know being a father and just family man, period, is hard to, set your schedules up and things come up and, stuff like that. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, man, let's get straight into it. So we'll go the same route as we usually do. We'll do the mental health check of the week, see how you guys are doing, and you guys can rate your week. So we'll start off with Vince since he's been here before. How was your week, and how do you rate it?
I would rate my week good. I would say, it's, I finally have a day off. I worked basically 7 out of the last 8 days.
Oh,
Yeah, so the new hospital I'm at, there's a shortage of nurses. There's a shortage of nurses everywhere. So they're asking anybody come in extra shifts, come in. I'm like, what? Sign me up.
yep. Extra money, yeah.
Extra money. So, but yeah, it's been good. I was lucky. Like everybody was safe. My patients were safe. Everybody was good. I'm safe. Kids are good. Wifey's good. So
Shout out to Janet.
Janet, what up?
yeah, I would say good. It's been a good week.
That's good, man. So what do you rate it, like a 9?
A 9.
Dang, that's high. That's good. That's good. That's really good.
Plus the Lakers have Luka, so
Hey, we could go above that. That's about 15. All right, that's good. That's good. It's good to hear. Clint, how was your week?
Good, man. I'd say if I had to rate it, probably 8 out of 10. I'm tired. I got 2 kids that are below the ages of 10, so it's crazy balancing both of them in different aspects of where they are in their life. Like Vince said, the Lakers did pull off Luka, so that helps bump that up. I probably need a couple more espresso shots to get it to 10, but overall 8 out of 10. Family's good, kids are good, wife's good.
Shout out, yes.
Yes, my wife, I love you. Yeah, just trying to keep my head down, you know what I mean, and just grind.
That's how we do, though. I would say that's like the main point of fatherhood is just you just keep your head down, grind, and take care of your family.
100.
My week was run of the mill 7. I would say 7.58. I would say the Luka trade brought it up to like a 9-10. I couldn't believe it. I honestly was. Funny thing was, I told the story on the episode that's gonna come out on Wednesday, but I was just sitting on the couch and I was on my phone, and the alert came up. And funny thing was, it wasn't even like a Shams alert. I usually get that first.
Mm-hmm.
It was Underdog, the betting app, right?
Of course.
And I was like what? So I thought it was fake. I was like, what? And then we're all about to leave her Nana's house, and I got up. And I was just yelling like, what? And they're all looking at me like, what the fuck? And I had like this puzzled look on my face. And like, so I'm like looking at Twitter, and I find Sham's report. And then I'm like, what? And they're like, what? They're like actually now vividly telling me like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Luka's a Laker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure all 3 of us on this couch being huge Laker fans for how long we can think of, it's like we're pretty much the same thought process. Like I was going to a 40th birthday in Los Angeles, and I was just exiting off of the 110 in Flower.
Oh wow!
and I saw that alert, but it was ESPN, and it had like red exclamation points. I was just like, what? I almost crashed the car. Sorry, babe. Almost, but did it. And I was just thinking to myself, like, this dude had to get hacked.
Yeah.
Had to. But as reports came through the rest of the night, it pretty much took over the birthday party, so I feel bad.
Imagine cross-checking to somebody, and then they go, what were you thinking? Luke is a Laker.
The police officer looks at you and be like, you know,
I'm going to let it slide.
Yeah.
Carry, just drive on.
Hey, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. Yeah, man, that was so fucking crazy. And then all I could think about after that was just, what did we give up? Right?
Oh,
that was like
sure.
the one thing I was like, okay, who left? And then me thinking already, I was like, damn, I guess Bron and AD are gone. Because Luka is 25, bro.
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, like, what, Vince?
I thought both first rounds were gone for sure. And I was thinking Austin Reeves and maybe Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think the AD, but I was like, oh man, AD would have to be part of the trade because the money.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why
so-
I was like, even just.
But
Bron-
like just because of Luka's youth and his productivity, I was like, okay, they're gonna have to both first rounds. Dalton Connect
yeah.
and Austin Reeves is gone too.
Yeah.
Be
So
honest.
like Dallas got a haul.
Be honest. Well, the second thought was like, damn, our defense is terrible now.
Oh,
like it was
100%.
already
Oh,
bad.
yeah, yeah,
It was already bad, but
Yeah.
it's just like, man,
Yeah.
now it's even terrible. Be
No,
honest.
but my first thought was like, okay, we're rebuilding.
What?
We're gonna rebuild around Luka.
And then I started noticing after AD left, that our team got a little, I don't want to say better, but our team is more fluid now.
I'd agree with
I
that.
feel like AD was like stopped the offense. If that makes sense. Like he
You see-
clogged
you see
clogged the.
Reeves put up 40 last
But that's
night.
my point. Like
Yeah, yeah.
there's so
No
much more.
LeBron,
There's so much more space.
Yeah, I think it kind of freed up everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of, especially on the defensive side of the end, I think a lot of the players started to realize like, shit, like we can't depend on AD being there anymore, right?
Yeah.
It also helps getting back a guy like Jared Vanderbilt, who's just a Swiss Army knife. Like
Him
he
and
could literally
hey,
guard.
dog, I'm telling you, him and Finney Smith, bro.
Man, fantastic.
And then you put Gabe Vincent. Oh,
yeah.
my
Whoa.
gosh.
He
And
just
but,
decided. He just
Jackson
decided
Hayes-
to like show up.
Jackson Hayes is also like super underrated, man.
Yeah.
No, he is underrated, but I would say he can't play more than 25 minutes.
No.
I
You
agree
give
with
him
that.
15, 20 minutes, he's a great backup center. That's why I was really excited about getting Mark Williams, because I was like, okay, now you can split up the time.
Pause.
Pause. Big pause. Well, actually, no homo. No pause. This pod is no pause.
Oh. So
But
All right.
you can split up the minutes between both of them, and then we can do the small ball, because I like the small ball lineup they have when they do the Rui, LeBron, Finney, Vando, and Austin. I like that lineup because they can switch everything. The only time we're gonna have issues that when we play Joker, we play like
Embiid.
anybody with a big center.
Wembanyama,
Yeah, so
yeah, let's try to avoid them.
Yeah.
like at all
Oklahoma
costs.
City.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, let's just avoid all those teams or try to.
We need a starting center. We don't have a starting center.
No,
right now.
I'm trying to. I'm really excited to see in the summer what they do now, because now you get back your first round pick, you get the pick swaps back, and you get Dalton back, right? So going into the summer, we have the leverage to trade away for a center. We're gonna start a starting center back, but it's not gonna be like a fucking superstar, because there's not really a superstar we can get right now that anybody's gonna give
Even
up.
in the buyout, maybe we might be able to pull somebody in the buyout that can help us now
Yeah.
temporarily. But even if you go in the market in the summer, who really is there?
Yeah,
Yeah, and everybody just doesn't
I
like to
was
deal with the
like,
Lakers.
oh, Jaren Jackson, bro.
Jaren Jackson would be
Cause,
for real. You know,
'cause
I'm a Michigan State guy.
Because
I'm
Memphis is not going anywhere. I would I would try to pull away Jaren Jackson. I would try to give, because I think we get another first next year.
yeah,
So-
available the 30th, right?
But you'd have to give up a lot for him.
Hey, bro, you pair him with Luka. That fool's young too. You know?
So followers, this is what mental health looks like with guys that love sports.
Yeah,
Like a trade like this or a deadline
that talk.
can literally elevate the rest of your week. So just a perfect example.
Yeah. All right. This is this is another reason why I actually wanted you guys here, because I know you guys know ball, and I wanted to have this discussion, right, about All Stars. Okay. Not the way they're doing it now, because right now All Stars is just fucked up, right?
Yeah.
The way they're doing it,
Terrible.
the direction they're going is just fucked up.
It's terrible.
My question to you is, what is an All Star? Because to me, I don't know. I don't know now what an All Star is, because LaMelo Ball has been fucking balling, bro, and this fool got snubbed, right? And then they were like, oh well, look at the past All Stars when they did the, remember when Atlanta was popping, when they had Kyle Korver, fucking all four of them made the fucking All Star, and they're like, well, how did he make the All Star? He's not the number one, and they're like, you can go to every team, and every team has a number one and a number two, and some teams, the number one and number two don't even make the All Star team, which is crazy to me, because All Star is the best player on your team, not we're gonna get the third and fourth option of your team just because you're number one. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's like, what is an all-star?
An all-star is somebody that is a game changer. Someone that impacts the game in multiple levels. But unfortunately, like right now, all-stars is dictated by votes.
Yeah, it's more of a popularity
It's
contest
a popularity
than
contest.
anything else.
It's a lot of politics involved. And that's why the all-star game, the all-star weekend, ratings is bad.
Yeah, it's fucking
game,
trash.
The game is horrible. Like the 3-point contest is probably the best out of anything in the All-Star weekend. The 3-point contest is probably the most entertaining one.
It's the only thing I watch. I don't even watch the dunk contests anymore.
The dunk contest, like
trash.
Who's on there?
I know who won it last year was McClung, right?
Yeah, he's coming back.
And he's coming back and trying to do the three-peat. I don't think anybody's done the three-peat, right?
Yeah, because nobody that cares anymore.
Well, they're all like in the G League. Like,
Dog, if you could could you imagine putting Zion
on there? Jalen Green,
Ja.
But Jalen Green's Filipino, so he'd be like
Jalen Green, Ja Morant.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you don't have these guys. Like, I don't want to say force them, but it's like, bro, we need the ratings, dog. Like, fuck.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a different breed, though. Like, Kobe. His first couple of years, he did it because he wanted to set the standard. He wanted to put his name out there.
And I want to say I blame LeBron, because LeBron
is,
he paved the way for the guys to be like, nah, I don't want to do it.
He's been dodging it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's been dodging it since he started. He could have won.
I would have put Bronny in this year's dog contest. Fuck. At least you'll get people watching it. Like, fuck.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. That poster he had though.
Dog, where he almost died.
Yeah, he almost died. But I'm saying like.
But you're right though. When LeBron bypassed the dunk contest, he set
the standard. Yeah.
So now everyone's like, oh, if LeBron doesn't have to do it, then I don't have to do it.
And to Vince's point, I also agree. What All Stars used to be is that hey, it was the guys that game changed, or it's a game changer who impact every level of the game. And by conversely, or the other side of that is like, who could take over a ball game, right? I think today's All-Star, or what you define on All-Star, is two things. One is a popularity contest, right? Fans will vote the guys that they like in. Not exactly sure how much, like, the strength that, writers or, colleagues have in the NBA. And then two is, it's such a guard game. So going back to LaMelo, there's other guys in the Eastern Conference that are balling out.
No.
Right? That play point guard, play shooting guard, right? So when you look at that, is people are going to look at it like, let's go invade in Tatum. Tatum's team is top 3 in the Eastern Conference. LaMelo's team is the guy.
Yeah.
In Charlotte, but his team's not even scratching.
Yeah. But that's my point though. That's why I'm saying about like, what is an all-star? Like, if the all-star starts with, hey, your team has to be top 5, top 6 to get into even be considered an all-star.
Yeah.
That sucks, because then you have all these bottom feeders like Charlotte. You have the teams that suck in the league.
Yeah.
that get the number 1 pick and they draft the stars,
Yeah.
right? They're never going to be seen because now the all-star is like, okay, if you have the fucking Celtics who have Jaylen Brown and fucking Tatum,
Yeah.
and then you have White, the dude, the third man, and they're like, oh, well, he's balling too. Let's put him on the all-star too because they're on fucking top 3.
Yeah.
Then you take away a place for a guy that's supposed to be seen,
Yeah.
right? And that's, I think, for me too, like MVP, right? I think over the years it's been changing, like the
criteria.
criteria of MVP,
100%.
right? Like you have to be number 1. Before it was like, who cares if your team's number 1? It's your stats.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, okay, who cares your stats? What do you do for your team? Is your team number 1?
Yeah.
Like, are you the reason why your team's a higher seed? And then it went back to, oh, you know, for fucking LeBron, like then it goes to your stats and what your team does. Like, to me, like, it's like fucking MVP is most valuable player. So if you are the most valuable player of the league, like you are killing it, no matter if your team is 1. Because there could be a guy who's leading scorer in the league, but his team is like 8.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, if you take him off of that team, they're fucking 12.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Like, I think the word value now in the NBA is so, like, there isn't really a definition of what value, what considered what's valuable in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's just, it's changed, man, from what we used to watch and what players are doing now. It's just like, I can't even give you a straight definition what an all-star MVP now is. Just because the league doesn't technically have one.
Yeah. And
right?
what do you think the league's going now? Because I feel like I watch the league now and it's like they're so in a gray area, I would say, because Bron is ready to give the mantle
to somebody,
but nobody can take it.
No, yeah,
You know?
there isn't anybody. And and I agree with you. I think the product itself, not to say that it's saturated, but I think the product itself is just not good.
It's mediocre.
It's mediocre, right?
Do you know why it's mediocre?
It's because they're jacking up 53-pointers a game.
So it started with Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Sorry,
Curry,
Steph.
and great player. He's first ballot Hall of Fame player. But what he did changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
He changed the rules of the game. He changed the way the game is played. But he also changed the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a fan, you look at a Steph Curry and you're like, oh, I could be like him.
Yep.
I can do what he does.
Yep.
Right? You could be a guy playing in high school, 6'2", 6'3". I'm like, I can do what Steph Curry does. I could train. I could do that.
Yeah.
But back in our days, like Shaq, these are legends because there's nothing you can do, train, eat, inject yourself. You cannot be a Shaq.
Well,
I mean,
well,
I don't know, man. There's some big motherfuckers out there, dude. But I get your point. I mean, like, it's just
like Jordan, like the way they play.
Yeah.
Like
There was a level of physicality.
there was like
that was there that is not present today.
no, you don't have to be so physical now.
Well, I mean, like
Yeah.
there's a difference too. Like you were saying, like they were like, oh, I can be Steph Curry. When you're like, I want to be like Jordan. I want to be like Kobe because you knew you probably were gonna be that, right? Like Steph Curry's like, I know I can be him. Like I can. I'm 6'2", 6'3". There's the average, person who's playing basketball that's probably really good is 6'2", 6'3", 6'4".
Yep.
I can do that. I can shoot from fucking 40 feet from the basket.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to drive in and all that bullshit. Kobe and Jordan, all them, like, it's like, all right, well, you have to be 6'8", 6'9". You have to be able to palm the ball with one hand.
You have to be strong.
You have to be strong. You have to be athletic. Like, you can't just walk in the court and be like, have no hops and, try to be dominant like that, right? Yeah. So that is fucking 100% true.
But I will argue that there is kind of like a movement of the importance of bigs because for a while it disappeared, right?
It's
just
coming back.
It's coming back.
It's coming
Jokic, Giannis, just to name a few guys.
Wembanyama,
yeah,
and the kid from
Wemby,
OKC, what's his name?
Chet Holmgren. Mark Williams, in the small capacity, he's been able to dominate too. Just some random name to throw out there. Jarrett Allen from Cleveland.
I'll tell you right now, it's gonna go back, and I think that's what
Jaren Jackson.
What I was alluding to, because a lot of like what you guys saying, the big man's coming back, but it's the Euro big man. So it's like 7'2", but I play outside in.
Yeah.
we're in the next 5 years. I can guarantee you, there's gonna be a big who comes back in and is dominating in the paint again.
Oh, please!
And then
I would love to see
and then
that.
it's gonna revert back to the old school again, and it's gonna kind of do like a little circle again, right? You're gonna have your power. The bigs right now that are Euro 5s will end up being 4s again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I think I like those days better. Like when the 5 was the 5, and the 4 was the 4. 4 was like around, the paint, outside, in.
I mean, it's our bias, right? Because like when we played all together, like physicality was our specialty, to say the least. To put it,
to put it lightly.
Yeah, to put it lightly. Mark, Jeff, shout out to our boys that played for Organized Noise. I mean, anybody that watched us play either still feel us today or remember how we played, how physical we are. But, to us, seeing guys that could do that, we enjoy that because we saw Shaq growing up. We saw Malone. We saw Olajuwon. We saw Hewing. We saw a lot of these guys that played a physical brand of basketball. But to us, that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there were guys on teams
who were just assigned
bruisers.
to. Yeah. You don't score any points. You're just in there to fuck people up.
Basically, Rick Mahorn for the Bad Boy Pistons. Lambeer was like that. Our Laker
Pacers
teams
had like the Davis.
Antonio and Antonio Davis and Dale Davis. Yeah.
You had roles. Like you just
Lakers, Mark Madsen.
Even the guard position. Like you had guards.
Yeah.
You had your point guard who scored, and then you had a shooting guard that just came into the game and was like, all right, he's just all defense and grit.
Yeah.
Like he's elbowing you, chasing the best player around, elbowing them, fucking pushing them, trying to fucking get in their head. Yeah. Now it's like there's nothing like that anymore.
Yeah, it's the movement. It's the new positionless basketball is what they're calling it. Especially
they're calling all these silly fouls and tic tacs and shit like that too.
Yeah, you
But
can
I think
barely
the
breathe on
NBA
somebody.
I think they have to make a change. Like if you look at the NFL still is the highest rated sports in America.
And we had 2 terrible Christmas games.
Yeah.
And it outdid the NBA. So I think that was an eye opener to
But the NFL
Commissioner
also
Silver.
changes rules. They change rules to.
They change rules that I would say that are not really affecting the game.
Yes.
We went overboard.
Yeah.
Right? And it really changed the landscape of the whole fucking league. And I think
the hand check rule, it changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah, basketball is a physical
hand check
sport.
rule, the over replay rule, the fucking the flag, like the determination of a flagrant 1,
foul.
flagrant 2, like you fucking it's just hard for me to watch right now.
Well, it's so easy to score.
Yeah.
When the defense is not allowed to touch you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous when, the Lakers are averaging 121 and they're ranked 7th in the league in scoring.
It's crazy.
Or teams are average they're taking 53s in the game.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Crazy. I mean, if you enjoy the 3-point shooting, sure. Have at it, right? But it's just I'm going to argue on the side of purists that want to see defense, that want to see some physicality, right?
I think I was watching Colin Cowherd. He's like, we need to extend the 3-point line.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, or increase the height of the rim from 10 to 12.
Do away with the side threes.
Yeah,
and
just push it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Question to that. Shout out to the PBA in the Philippines. They have a 4-point.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah.
They have a 4-pointer. So, dude, if they have that, why not? Why can't we bring that to the NBA? Guys are Damian Lillard and Trey are jacking up shots from 45 feet. So why not?
It's true. I just think that's gonna to me. I think it'll probably not ruin, but it's gonna extend the
3-point line.
Extend the 3-point line and extend the where we're heading.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go there because I know we're gonna get there and we're gonna be like, all right, revert. We might as well just change it now because the ratings are down. And then. Since we're talking about this right now, with this Luka trade, right? I feel like the GMs are trying to take back the power because coming in with LeBron, he changed the whole landscape of player, period.
He put the power in the players.
Yes. And that's why I think a lot of the GMs are getting happy now and looking for the future after LeBron and trying right now to start taking away the power like Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Right? Fucking Luka. Like they're like, all right, well, we're just gonna fucking trade you for shit, you know? Because now like, and the thing is too, they're like, oh, why didn't fucking they open it up? Obviously, they didn't open it up because then the value goes up, right? If you know where you wanted to send him, just fucking send him. Who cares?
They wanted Anthony Davis.
No, I know that's what I'm saying. Like they know what they wanted, and if they opened it up, they wouldn't have got Anthony Davis because then we couldn't have matched any other team that fucking would have gave them.
Yeah, dude. OKC would have came in with like, I'll give you 7 first.
We have
fucking. We have 30 of them.
Picks from fucking 2040.
Pick 7. Actually, put a blindfold on. Pick 7, and we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
And the only thing I didn't like was they're trying to create this narrative of Luka being out of shape and like lazy.
Man, like DFS said,
look,
if being 270 out of shape and you 5-time All NBA,
I led you
keep
guys
on going.
I led you guys to the fucking Western Conference Finals, and I'm 270, bro.
Bro, give me a beer, give me a cigar, shoot me up, whatever. Hey, as long as I'm All NBA and I'm handling business.
Sports is it's about your numbers, what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Right. He's 25. He's been a 5-time first team All NBA.
Yep.
Okay. That says that you're the top 5 player in the NBA. Mm-hmm. The probably premier league in the world.
You're the best at your position.
Yes. Yeah. So you're telling me that the best out of the position is lazy? You don't get to that level being lazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, that's why I couldn't believe it. It's like, bro, this dude led them to the West Conference Finals, led them to the finals. Kyrie disappeared. He if you look at his stats during that series, he's the only one balling. They didn't have anybody.
He actually plays better in the playoffs too. His numbers.
That's what I'm saying.
By the time they got to the finals against the Celtics, he was gassed. Like he just had nothing left
because he was carrying the fucking team.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, people want to have this narrative that he isn't a great defender, and for the most part, I probably agree with that. Yeah. I think he's okay.
But right? you deal with that, bro.
But when you're taking 80 to 90% of the offensive weight and expect to go the other way, difficult.
If you're 90% of our offense and you want to sit on the baseline, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll fucking we'll deal with it. We'll find a way. We'll find a way. It's your fault that you guys can't find a way to help this man. Yeah. This man is taking you guys to win a championship, and you guys can't help this guy. Yeah. You guys are willing to
it really does take a special athlete. Like we saw some really bad Laker years where Kobe was just like taking 50 shots, but also guarding the best player on the other team. And
but that's the thing. Man. Luka has never been a defender.
Yeah, never.
Right. Never. So you can't expect him. Like I said, if you want him to be the best, you have to take the load off of him.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
If he's 90% of your offense, make him 70% of your offense, and then he'll give you hustle plays. Yeah. But he's fucking gassed because he's the fucking 90% of your offense.
Yeah, I like the guys that we have around him currently. It would have been nice to have Mark Williams there if he was healthy.
Oh yeah, Jared Vanderbilt and
we have Vanderbilt, we have DFS, we have.
That's what I'm saying. You got Bron,
Vincent.
And Bron plays defense when he wants to.
When he wants to.
So if you're locked in a series, him, Vando, and Finney Smith, bro,
we're fine. Yeah. We just need
not to mention we got tougher adding a guy like Markieff Morris, right? Even though he's older now, he was a part of our 2020 championship team, but he was so pivotal on that team. He builds culture. He brings this toughness that a lot of guys on our squad does not have.
No, I like that one guy. What's his name?
Which one?
The dude that knocked
Jameson?
out. Yeah, dog.
Oh, that boy big.
Hey, bro. I want them to keep him because this dude is like an enforcer, bro.
Yeah. The Trey Jameson, what's his name?
I'm not sure what his name is. He's a two-way player.
Yeah, it's a two-way player.
He's one of the centers. Yeah, not Coloco, but the other guy that comes in. Yeah. He's like a fucking gangster, dog. This move runs around and shit and like.
Oh, I like the fact that he palmed. He palmed face. He palmed somebody's face. He was like, bro, get
Trey Werkz.
Yeah.
Fucking got his hand all up in his face and was like, get away from me. And I was like, bro, this is the guy we need on the team.
Yeah, I like that.
Put him out there and just let him fuck people up.
Yeah, basically, we need somebody like that, man.
Yeah, but all right. Since we overtalked that sports topic, all right. I just want to touch on it a little bit. I don't know how much you guys want to touch on politics right now, but we're all, either experience or have family that are immigrants or had hard time coming over here trying to find a better life. Do you guys have any comments with what's going on right now with ICE and, you know, people getting ripped from their families? And I have people that I know who are out of pocket right now, and it's very disgusting to be agreeing with what's going on. And, you know, I get it. Like, you want people not to be here, you know, whatever. But to say, like, to be okay with them just fucking ripping people from their family and deporting them back is crazy to me. Right? Like, that is fucking crazy.
It's a personal topic for me, because I know people that are in that situation. We're all products of immigrant families, right? That's the reason wearing my Kids of Immigrant shirt. It's something that I understand about who I am as a person and how I grew up. You know, I was very fortunate that my parents came here from the Philippines, and you could say during that time in the 80s, they did it the right way. Mm-hmm. You know, they applied for the visas, they stayed here, they did their, you know, they're able to get their citizenship and have been citizens in the United States for, you know, over 20 plus years, right? I just feel it is disgusting. I also have people in my life that are kind of out of pocket, and, you know, they have their own beliefs, and their opinions are, they're entitled to their opinions, right? Mm-hmm. I will say, when it comes to politics, I do think the United States do need to do a better job in providing a pathway, an easier pathway for, you know, immigrants or undocumented individuals to become citizens of the United States, right? Mm-hmm. And however that looks, right? But there needs to be more of a, there needs to be a better way. There needs to be an easier pathway for those individuals. They're, you know, not every immigrant's a criminal, yep. Right? People that grow up are some of the hardest working people that I know, right? So, and they do pay taxes. Some people don't believe that, but they do pay taxes into the United States, right? Through ITINs and whatnot. So I'll leave that as my 2 cents. But yeah, I growing up here in La Puente, you'd be kidding yourself if you didn't think that the next person next to you that you went to school, high school, college, were immigrants or products of immigrants. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my opinions can be unpopular. I'm an immigrant. Mm-hmm. I moved here when I was 7. My parents are immigrants. I didn't become a citizen of the United States until I was a sophomore in high school. It took me that long. My parents paid a lot of money for a lawyer, and they did it the right way. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Do I know people that in the Filipino community, they call them TNTs, Tago na Tago. They come to the U.S. as a tourist, and they stay here and they don't go home. Yep. I know people that I have family members. Mm-hmm. But we live in a country that is unlike any other country in the world. Mm-hmm. Any other country, if you're illegal, they kick you out. Mm-hmm. Here, they bring them in. Now they're trying to be a little bit more strict about it. Name me any other country where you could go out in the middle of downtown, raise another country's flag, mm-hmm. and disrupt the city like that. Name like any other country. You do that in Mexico, what's going to happen to you? Yeah. You do that, like you don't see that in any other country. It happens in the U.S. because the U.S. we have freedom. Mm-hmm. You know, you have freedom to believe one way. We have freedom to believe another way. This is just what's happening now, and you know, for me. If you're illegal, you're illegal. You're breaking the law. Mm-hmm. If you get caught, What like? Is there a gray area there? You know, where do we draw the line
Mm-hmm.
of where we're gonna enforce the laws? Are we gonna say, oh, if you're illegal but you're a kid, we're not gonna take you from your parents? If you're illegal, but like, that's where it's kind of like, you know, what do we do? Trump just said, well, if you're illegal, you're gonna get deported.
Mm-hmm.
Very clear. So, are there going to be sad things that's going to happen? Yes. There's people going to be taken away from their families. People going to be separated. But you also knew that.
Mm-hmm.
If you chose to come to this country being illegal, that was a risk. If you get caught, what was going to happen? You know?
And that's also the beauty of it too. Is just that we're also in a country that, you know, we don't lose sight. We have more in common than we do differences, right? Yep. And we can agree to disagree on opinions, right? In politics, unfortunately, in the United States, it's taboo.
Yeah,
people are there's really a gray matter with politics. It's either there's people that are just you open that can of worms and it's going to be a long conversation, and there's other people that just, you know what, this is what I believe. I'm just going to stay quiet, right? And but you know, to Vince's point, right? So it's just, you know, his family. We've been friends for over 20 years, so I definitely know that, you know, his family had to do it the right way. My family did it the right way when they came here in the 80s, mm-hmm. right? But, you know, my counterpoint to that is just, I just wish the United States had a clear pathway to that, where, you know, you're not spending an entire fortune on lawyers, on immigration, right, to come here to the United States, right? Mm-hmm. The individuals that are paying in taxes, that are working, that are contributing to our society should be given the opportunity. If the person have the goods, they should be able to. Yeah,
it should be like should be like a job, right?
Yeah,
you go to these jobs. I'll make it, you know, example. You go to these jobs as a temporary worker, right? If they see that you're putting in
or have some type of value,
all that stuff, what happens? You get hired.
Yeah.
Right, to the company. Right? And then you become a part of that company however long you stay. So to your point, yes. I know a couple of my friends, their parents finally became citizens and it took them fucking forever. And I think that to that point, yes. And I believe that's probably why a lot of people, I don't want to say that's why they come here, but I know for a fact they come here because of just the freedom of being here. It's easy to start a life here, right? There's a lot of people who will pay you under the table, and you can find, you know, especially if you have family, it's easy to start a life here.
It's just sad, like living in this country. I love this country, and I'm not saying this is a perfect country, mm-hmm. but there's no perfect countries.
No, yeah.
And you know, I love the Philippines too, but no way in the world I'm gonna live in the Philippines full time.
Nope. Oh no, man! I've been where your family's from. It's nice over there.
But you know, like, this country allows us to have our voice, different opinions. Yeah. You know, there's a lot to be fixed. Like if I go on a tangent and talk about, like, from the medical world perspective, because I've seen it firsthand. Individuals that don't have insurance because they're not documented, and they're under Medi-Cal, they're getting free insurance.
Yeah,
it's wild what benefits they have versus somebody that
has insurance
and that they don't get. Or if you're an immigrant and you're undocumented, but you're able to get money in the government to pay for your schooling, you know, versus somebody like myself, we could never get help from the government for schooling because my mom made too much money.
Yeah,
you know, so everything we had to pay on our own. So it's very complex, very complicated. We're gonna see a lot of things in the news, and they're gonna show things in the news that they want you to see.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know, that's why I don't want, like, I don't really like watching the news, because even like when they had the whole Black Matters movement thing. What happened to that? How come they don't show that anymore? What happened to the daily? During that time, we were seeing every day there was like daily evidence of police brutality.
Yeah, because they found a new topic.
So what happened to that? You know,
Yeah,
so
you just got to educate yourself, right?
Yeah. So, it's. I was just talking to my coworker the other day. I'm like, dude, if I was in that 101 the other day and I saw that happening, as I am for immigrants, I'm an immigrant myself. I am for immigrants. You know how pissed off I would be that I'm sitting there in the freeway stuck? Right?
I don't know why you would be on the 101 in the afternoon. I try to avoid.
No, but if I was, I
We're the IE, homie.
Hold on. If you're on the 101 at that time, that's your problem
That's
because you know you're not supposed to be there. Like
no problem.
you're a tourist. You don't know where you're going.
Because that freeway is always traffic anyway.
Always.
Yeah, we grew up in LA County. We traveled all those freeways around there. I just
Imagine
avoid the
how,
101 mid-afternoon.
You're staying there, that freeway got shut down. You're stuck there for hours.
405, 101, anything that leads into downtown, you just need to stay away from.
Yeah, for real.
For real. But there is one thing I want to touch on before we move on. Like I said, I'm from immigrants as well. My grandparents came here, did the same thing, did it the right way, all that stuff, and then my mom moved from there to here, and then my dad was a citizen, so I mean, obviously that doesn't matter. But I think one thing, seeing those demonstrations that happen in the 101 freeway, like I get it, like you're trying to make, you're trying to show how proud you are for Mexico and stuff like that with the Mexican flags and stuff like that. But there was somebody who I listened to that made a great point. They're like, you want to be here, you want to stay here. Like, why isn't there, as many American flags marching with you? And then what really pissed me off, that when I was like, I don't condone that, is they started burning the flag.
Yeah.
And I was like, me as an American, I'm American, Mexican, Filipino, bro. I grew up here. I love America. I'm as patriotic as you can get. I will protect this country. I love the Philippines. I am Mexican. I support Mexico and all that stuff like that. But I'm from here. So I will. That flag means a lot to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So that's what I said earlier. Like, name me a country where you can burn their flags in public, and you'd be okay and walk away.
That's what I'm saying. I think that right there, when I saw that, I was like, that's not right. I'm like, you can go out and protest and do all that shit, but when you start doing shit like that, that's where I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what they're gonna show on TV.
That's why.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're gonna try to find ways to, feed whatever narrative or whatever they spew at us or whatnot. So
yeah,
they're gonna show that, obviously, because it's gonna entice some type of feeling, emotional reaction to it, right?
All right, man. Well, let's get on and let's get on to my segment I call 5 in, 1 out. So I'm gonna play 5 songs for you, and you basically, it is what it is. You hear 5 songs, one of them has to go.
Oh,
okay.
It better not be R&B, because
come on. Who do you think I am?
Who do you think you're talking to?
Yeah, that's my point. Ready?
Like,
so here's the first one. We're gonna go old school. All right. So where do we sit on this?
first of all, you're messed up for this, Ray.
Yeah. Who? Okay.
This is tough.
You could have picked any artist. Be like, here's Michael Jackson.
No,
let's start this.
That's what I'm saying. I saw it. I was like, this has to be the first one, because we get progressively harder after this. Pause.
I would take out Remember the Time.
Fans.
Because out of all of those, that's probably his newest song out of all those.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Beat It, Billie Jean, and Thriller.
Those got to stay.
Yeah,
those 3,
stay.
yes.
Yeah,
it was either The Way You Make Me Feel or Remember the Time.
I would lead. Me personally, I would. The way you make me feel is probably. I would.
That
I would
was
let
exactly
go.
what I was saying.
Those
yeah.
4, just because the other 4 are in a complete vibe.
Yes.
Right. Like you cannot listen to those 4 like records.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if you know, my foot just instantly started like twitching. Like,
you'll see the camera. I'm like here dancing with my phone.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If it was
Yeah.
if it was up to me, I'd probably say.
To me, the way
I'm not saying that it's not a good
yes,
song.
It's a
I'm
good
not saying-
song, but
when
it's a
you
song that you can sit down and you can listen to.
Yeah.
And it's not a like you're not gonna get up and start dancing. All the other 4 songs is like when I hear the way you make remember the time, like I'm like bopping. Like,
And Magic Johnson was in that music video.
Keep in mind too, like the age gap, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Remember the time, probably in your age gap.
Yeah.
Like I'm more of an '80s kid.
Yeah.
So
Man, you just really aged yourself
Yeah.
you know,
by saying that.
well, I'm a lot older than you guys. But like
You're like,
The-
what,
the-
30,
like-
you're like 30. You're like 30, 35. 35.
Is it 35? All right. Here's the next one. I just want to say shout out to Chris Brown for getting his 2nd Grammy. And fuck
real.
you guys, because how does this man have only 2 Grammys, bro?
It's crazy to me.
It's fucking nuts.
Crazy to me.
But yeah. All right.
Crazy.
so first of all, my wife and I are big Chris Brown fans. Like we go to every single one of his concerts he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And on stage, that boy,
I need, yeah.
He's
like Usher, him. My dream tour is if Usher and Chris Brown go on tour together.
Oh, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts.
yeah.
I think
absolutely
it has to
nuts.
happen, though. I think
You
it
know,
will happen.
It will.
with HER opening for them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, but like, yeah, Chris Brown. Oh man, do we have to give an answer?
Yeah. Again, dude, what's wrong with you? You went Michael Jackson. I know you just okay.
If
you said the
you're gonna hate
president.
me, you're gonna hate me
It's
for the
gonna be-
last one because the
It's
next
like-
one is even worse. Because goes back to our clubbing days.
I will,
You're gonna mess up.
I will say Chris Brown has definitely gotten me personally through a lot of stuff, and all of his albums. Right, I feel, it's the music we grew up to. Right,
Yeah.
Chris Brown hit the scene running like in 03, 04.
Yeah.
So this is the music that we had, and we kind of saw him, through the highs and the lows.
It's crazy. It's because the way I see it is like we all grew up together.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
music was like the in that time frame when he dropped music, it was where I was at in my life, and I was like, man, he's speaking to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, he helped us through relationships.
Yeah.
Obviously, when we all were clubbing together, his music was really popping up in the clubs. But damn it,
It's
between
still
those,
popping. It's still.
I mean, it's still popping.
He's still dropping bangers, bro.
Man, this is tough. And like whatever answer I give, like someone's gonna slap me in the face. I'm gonna have Clint go first. As the big bro, I say Clint goes first.
Chris goes first.
You're terrible, Vince.
You're the
terrible.
youngest.
Jesus Christ, I'm having like.
Are we gonna just pass this one on? You're gonna say all 4 go?
You gotta do like the drink champs. Like if you don't answer, you gotta take a shot.
I got shots right there, baby. Look, I got cups and shots right there, baby.
All right, just give me the names of the songs
All right.
in order.
In the way it came out?
Yeah.
Okay. Say goodbye.
Okay.
With you. With you.
Yeah.
Yo.
Okay.
Loyal. And look at me now.
I love R&B, so to avoid taking a shot because I got to drive hella far back home. For the sake of that,
Oh, I know what he's gonna say.
I'm gonna say probably "Look at Me Now."
I heard that.
Just because the first 3 songs.
It's a Busta Rhymes record.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's the only one that's not his song. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Little Wayne. It's a Little Wayne Busta Rhymes record.
Yeah, that's
He's a feature. So
he's a feature. I'd say that before amongst all those songs, just because those first 3 were just so like it was high school for me.
Yeah.
Right. They hold a special place. So if I had to choose, it's "Look at Me Now."
And Loyal is his song, and that's one of like the bangers.
Oh yeah, you put that on.
So,
That's
like,
like
that was my-
yeah.
That was gonna be
Yeah.
my excuse because I was like, it's not his song.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
a feature, so I'm just gonna go with all his songs.
You agree? You agree with that?
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So this next one is gonna be, just wait for this one. I have 2 questions. One is which one? Obviously, one song has to go, right? 2 is what dance is your favorite dance?
Okay.
Well, I mean, he took the first one. I took the second one. You got to start this,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So one has to go. I'm taking out Steak and Lake because the other ones are, the dance that goes along with it is much more, I'd say. I'm not saying I don't like Steak and Lake because Steak and Lake used to pop in the club, but I'm taking out Steak and Lake. And for dancing, I would say Teach Me How to Dougie. That was like one of those iconic, dances that came out, and there were so many versions of it that you could have done. Like that's mine.
I agree with that. I would take out Stanky Leg because I wasn't really a fan of that song so much.
You lie.
And
I was in the club with you when that song came out. You lie.
but
You're right knee. Your right knee says otherwise.
Your right knee.
Specifically, your right knee says otherwise.
The Dougie is probably the dance I can still do today. I love the jerk. I don't know. I might need like some ibuprofen. I might need like biofreeze to do the jerk.
Oh man. Our generation these songs it caused all of us to have some type of injury, right? I will say, like, if you were to play those 5 songs back to back to back to back at a party or whatever, and we all tried to do it, we would literally be hurting the next day.
Definitely,
but
100%.
I will also agree,
though.
they do, and I will also say, each song and the small amount of time you played it, like literally just like
got you, yeah.
like threw me back to different times when we used to go out and party like every weekend. And it literally was every weekend. But yeah, I agree with you guys. Stanky Leg, probably the less. I would take out Dougie for sure, and it was kind of a transition, right? Like the jerk was straight into the Dougie, right? And all that good stuff.
Dougie was much easier too.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So that's the. I think to me, Leanwood or Rockwood is probably the close second because we used to do that shit, turning up in the club too. Crank that was like during high school.
Yeah, it was like
So
a
that-
move. Like it was
yeah,
like it
that
took
was- yeah.
everything. It's funny story.
We
got kicked out of a party for doing that dance a little too good.
We did. And I remember we used to stay in the club long enough just to hear Crank That.
Yeah.
And once Crank That played, we're
We'd
like,
leave.
okay, we're
All
done.
right, we're going to Denny's.
Yeah, because the club was dead. And we're like, we're just waiting for them to play our song, and then
It
we're
was
out.
like we would be all at different parts of the club, and we would just look up, and we just saw this from somebody, and it was just like, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's go to Denny's. Let's jump into Sharky. Let's jump into Sharky or Cashmere, Mark's old car, and we just go to Denny's right after.
Yeah, I mean, those were those clubbing days, man. I'm telling you, like.
But have you
The
guys
trip-
been to a club
No.
recently?
No.
You?
I think the last time I've been there, I think is with you guys. And that was like for Janet's birthday or something. I had to be one of the birthdays. That was the last time I went to a club.
Probably when I went to Vegas recently.
Dude, I couldn't even recognize it. I went to Vegas last year with Mark and Rachel, and I was just like, what do you mean people don't dress up to the club now?
Yeah, it's different.
What?
It's dude, like
Yeah, you can
they
go to the
come
club with what I'm wearing.
this, or like I saw dudes with like hoodies and like sweatpants.
Wow. I remember I used to hate dressing up. I would love it back right now. Oh my God.
Yeah,
No, but
it's a different vibe, man. It's
Yeah.
complete. I don't even recognize this.
I think one thing I do miss is the pre-gaming. Is going to like Vince's house. We
Yeah.
got everyone,
Getting
everybody's
Getting
getting
ready.
ready there.
Yeah.
We're just taking shots, and then we drive to the. I think that was like
Remember when we used to go T-shirt time?
T-shirt time. Dog, There's so much shit that we used to do that I look
Yeah,
back
I
and I'm
don't.
like,
I don't condone like telling anybody to, like, drink an entire bottle of Boone's Farm in a parking lot. Shout out AG Pasadena. Yeah, definitely would recommend drinking that in a small period of time.
Yeah.
It's not good for you.
and then when they try to rush you to drink Irish car bombs, don't do that either.
That was Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah,
Oh,
we got
man.
so fucked up that day. Oh
Ray,
my
don't
God.
bring it up, man. My hangover was
That
so
was
bad
so
that day.
fucked up that day.
Dude, who fell asleep in the bathroom? That was you?
That was Alan.
Oh, that was
Alan.
Alan. And he threw up.
And he threw it.
Yeah, because Mark started pouring Irish car bombs with just Jameson whiskey.
Yeah.
Like double Jameson whiskey.
Remember when you drink so much that would pour cups of water and then act like you're giving you the shot? All right, man. That's fucking. That was so.
You know what? Crazy.
All right, man. Let's get straight into it. All right, we get into the serious part of the pod now. Now we got all that stuff out of the way. So I sent you guys. I think I sent you guys like 6 questions. I don't know how many we're gonna get through, but we'll just go knock them out. Try to figure out which ones we're gonna do. So the first one I really want to know is, as a father, how did becoming a father change you? So think about before you even knew you wanted kids, or even if you wanted kids, and then after having a kid, and we'll say the time frame of actually living that moment of having, like, taking care of a kid, and being a father and, husband, all that stuff, having to take over more duties, I guess you can say, adding to what your life already had. How did that change you, or what did it change in you?
I would say I have a boy and a girl. Okay, so when my son came, when Aaron came, responsibilities, obviously, feeling love for this human being.
The mental capacity, how to prioritize, right? Obviously, our families are always going to be the core nucleus, right? My wife, my 2 daughters, right? But it's just the everyday grind, the everyday struggle. Like, how can I be a good father, husband, friend, worker, an employee or whatever, or business owner, whatever you want to say, and have enough energy at the end of the day for that, right?
Yeah.
And I think, all of us, we try our best, and there's some days that we fall short. There's other days that we excel at it, right? But I think for me personally, that's the hardest. Like, I try to wake up with a positive attitude. And that usually sets me in the right path towards the rest of the day. But it's really those challenges, man, those mentally daily struggles, how to take that off, put it back on, and then just be able to handle all of that.
Yeah, I think it's the unwinding, because you go, Vince, you experience this going to work, right? Doing all the work stuff, having that hat on, as you'd say, of being a worker, right? Whether you're in management, or actual worker, under somebody, and then going through the whole day, having to walk through the door and take off that hat and then put on your dad hat. I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah,
Because
it's a different set of responsibilities that you
Yes.
have, right? It's like, damn, I just came from work, but it's time to go to work.
Well, it's
Right?
hard to turn that switch off, because you're there doing that 8 to 10 hours a day, 12 hours sometimes, and you come home and you're tired, right? And then your kids don't know, they don't understand, right? And your wife understands, but it's like with that, it's like, your kids
She has her own
she has her own.
Yeah, she definitely has her own.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
thing.
your wife
Yeah.
understands, but she has her own,
list of
stuff that she's doing, and her hat that she wears, and she wears multiple at the same time. And that's why, for me, I think for us, it's like we're switching off one, trying to go to another. Like, my wife is great. Like, she wears multiple hats at the same time. It's crazy. Yeah. And I would say it's like, for mental health wise, like, you have to make sure that you are conscious of depression. I would say depression, cautious of your mental battery, because a lot of times, mental battery is big for us, right? Like, we need to recharge. Yeah. Because if we're on E all the time, or we're charging 25% and then we're going to go do some other shit, it's like hard. It's hard, bro. And then you start. That's when you get the overreacting to a little thing. Things, yeah. You know what I mean? And that kind of draws back the the day, right? And then that's where you fail, right? Or you want to say you don't succeed those days. Like those are the days where you know why you failed is because you had either, you weren't ready for that because you didn't recharge, whatever have you. You didn't flip that switch, and I think that's where you have to be more aware,
And like I think in our previous podcast we were talking about this when I was in it was quite a while ago. And I was finishing up with school. I was studying for the board at that time. My wife was also in a similar pathway, and we were balancing school, work, because we were a full-time student, full-time working, full-time parents. We were balancing all that, and at that time, like I knowingly was not giving my wife the attention. It was kids, work, school, and then my wife was last. And that kind of, it makes things a lot harder. But there's been two quotes that I've been really trying to live my life by lately. And the first one is work the problem. So I'm trying not to put emotion into things, identify the problem, deal with the problem, and then the emotion you'll take care of that a little later on. But you got to fix the problem first, right? So whatever comes up through the day, I have to take Aaron to baseball practice at this time. Izzy has cheer practice at this time. I have to get to work at this time. Okay, let's figure out the logistics. Let's work out the problem, and then at the end of the day, we'll be tired. But let's work the problem, and then the next quote I try to live by is, after all said and done, this too shall pass.
Mm. That's a great one.
That's a good one.
Because whatever feelings I'm feeling now, anger, frustration, sadness, with time, with healing, this too shall pass. So I that's kind of to answer the question. The hardest part is dealing with the mental.
Yeah.
But if you have a good support system, my wife is absolutely amazing, and she does everything. Right now she's working, a lot. She takes care of the house, takes care of the kids. It helps a lot that you have a strong rock.
Yeah,
right?
well, if you have a partner who is aligned with where you guys are going,
Absolutely.
it
makes
makes
a difference.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
it makes the pathway so much easier, right?
Like
It's-
single parents, more power to them. I don't know
100%.
how. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's
hard.
to do it by yourself. It's even more difficult.
Yeah. All right. This is probably the last question. If you could give one piece of advice about being a father, what would it be? Oh, actually, no. Sorry. This is actually the one I wanted. What lessons did your parents teach you that you wanted to pass down or not want to pass down?
I love my parents, but I would say I am a much different parent than they are. Much different parent. I see the world in a different way. I'm also raising my kids in a different world. You were. Mm-hmm. But what I took from my parents is unconditional love. From my mom, unconditional love. I can do no wrong to my mom.
Mm.
From my dad, what I took from him is his constant critique. Constantly trying to make yourself better. Like growing up, I never felt like I was ever good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my dad, in his way, he was just like trying to get me to the best version of myself.
Yep.
Maybe he didn't show me a lot of positive affirmations. He didn't give me any positive affirmations. And it kind of made me want to do more. And I'm kind of doing something similar with like my kids. Like Aaron always tells me, like, Dad, like what I did today in the game, like 2 sacks, that's not enough. I'm like, could you have done better?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think I could have done better. You know, so he's always like pushing himself a little harder, a little bit more. I could learn to be a little bit more graceful, you know. But yeah.
For me, their hard work, I think, is if I'm gonna continue to pass something down to my kids, is hard work. That's all I saw. You know, my mom was a nurse. I barely got to see my mom. You know, my dad owned a construction business, more of an entrepreneur. He had his, he used to, cater. He used to do this. But hard work was kind of like the center of it all, right? The American dream. If you work hard, you can accomplish anything, right? And I think this generation of kids that are now being raised, they've lost a little bit of vision of that. And I want to continue to show that to my daughters that, hey, it's going to require hard work. Everything in life requires hard work. Relationships, work. If you want to be an athlete, requires you to have hard work.
Yep.
But to Vince's point, I'm also a different parent than my parents were. Because I see the lens in a different modern world, right? I'm also coming it from, they're coming it from like, hey, we came as immigrants. We didn't have anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is how we're going to get it. Whereas me is just like, I'm always constantly thanking my parents, counting my blessings, because the opportunities that they had to sacrifice
for you to be
to be where I'm at. Right. And it's, from my mom, same thing as Vince, like unconditional love. I can do no wrong in my mom's eyes. Right. Similar to Vince, my dad also didn't give me a lot of positive affirmation. So I think that's the reason why I'm so mindful and always telling my daughters, like, hey, I love you. Like,
might be a Filipino.
I think it's for sure a Filipino thing, right? And it's I guess the ultimate thing is a lot of us want to break that like the generational curses, right? There's a lot of, we could probably have a whole different podcast of things that from our culture we don't wish upon our children.
Yep. Right.
Yeah, but let's keep it positive. I think for those, and my father, I will say one thing I do want to pass down to my daughters is the simple of family over everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like my dad, you guys obviously know my father, right? It's just like if it was a helping hand when he could, he would drop everything he possibly could to help, right? My grandmother, rest in peace, Nanay, lived with us until I was like 26, 27 years old, until she passed. But like the last 10 years, my dad took it upon himself to become like her number one caregiver, right? You don't see that often. You don't see a, son-in-law
the male
take that burden, right? It's my mom's mom, but my dad took it upon himself, right? So, I guess family over everything, man. Like it's just how I live my life and how I prioritize. I think that's what grounds me at the end of the day. Like I can get lost into things, but it's just kind of like, all right, this is what I have here at home. This is the people that I hold dear to my heart. And that kind of brings me back to full circle. Right. So,
for me, I think it's, like Vince said, it's a Filipino thing. I grew up with my grandparents. So my grandpa instilled the work ethic since I was able to fucking lift something. I was fucking helping him, waking up early on the weekends, fucking watching him work, my grandma work as well. Same thing with you. Unconditional love for my grandma. Like I was the baby. Even though I had my sister, like I was the fucking prince. Like I could do no wrong. My grandpa would always be the one yelling at me, but my grandma would be the one shielding me. Like, that type of shit. So I would say like my grandpa would instill the work ethic. And he'd always tell me, like, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as you work hard, you'll get to where you want to go. Right? He'd always tell me that. Like, whatever you want to be. He's like, I don't care. He's like, but work hard. Because if you work hard, you'll get to what you want. If you don't work hard, you're not going to get anything. But he would say that in Tagalog, right? And just, it would always stick with me. Like, even though as a kid, I didn't understand. And I always thought that he was just being really, over aggressive and bearing, right? But at the end of the day, the way I look at it now, it's like, man, I needed that. Not having a dad, not, my mom in and out. I needed that type of, love, I would say love from him to show me where I needed to go. Because nowadays, even if, when I had a kid young at 20, I already knew, like, I had a kid. I'm like, I need a job. Like, I need to take care of this kid. Like, I wasn't scared. And my wife always tells me, like, you weren't, like, I was like, I'm not scared because I already know what I need to do. Like, this is having a kid. It's like, I can't make him go away. Right. Well, I can if I just not see him like my dad. But, I can just fucking, I knew what I needed to do. And I was like, I can sit here and cry about it. I can sit here and sulk about it. I can sit here and pretend I don't have a kid. But I was like, nah, I told myself, I promised myself I would never do that. And so taking that from, and instilling that into my kids, and that's why I'm so hard on my kids, is like I told them all the time, like, I don't care what you do in life, where you want to go, like what you want to, be as an adult. But as long as you work hard and you get there, that's my dream, right? That's what I want. I want to be old and see you be happy because you wanted what you wanted and you got it, right? And then, the unconditional love, dude. Like, I tell my kids I love them all the time. To have, even if it's just passing them, walking through the kitchen, walking by the room, give them hugs, give them, because I never got that.
Yeah.
I never got that as a kid. Filipino parents don't do that.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
far from it.
And they don't say nice things to you.
Yes, and I think that was another thing too, is like growing up, like they always, say, I don't want to say it's like mean things, but they always like,
It's just like it's just in our culture. There's always like this thing where it's
very judgmental.
It's very judgmental. That's what it is. Whether it's your body, or it's either you eat too much, you don't eat enough, or
you're always frequently compared to.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Your cousin does this. Yeah.
Your cousin.
Why can't you be like your cousin?
Yeah.
Your cousin Clint, look at your cousin Clint. He doesn't eat that much.
I'd argue the other way.
Look at your cousin. Dude. Your cousin Clint, he has a job. Well, he's going to school. You're not doing anything.
It's just crazy. It's so crazy because like they have like this thing, like how it's supposed to look like when they get here, right?
Yeah.
And every kid should follow those steps.
Yeah.
Nah, man.
But
that's not how it goes.
The positive thing is too, like, I honestly don't think kids nowadays are held to the same standard and are not held accountable.
No, 100%.
Oh no, 100%.
Like we were held to a certain standard, and we were held accountable. Like whether you did something right or you did something wrong, you're gonna pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like kids nowadays, I don't think they're held to the same.
No, they get to do whatever they want. I mean, back in the day, you get your ass whipped for doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's where we're talking about, like this generation that's coming up. I worry for them.
I do,
because it's like, well, my kids. I won't say my kids because obviously, like I'm trying to build that in them.
Yes.
But the kids around them.
Yeah.
Like I worry for them because they're gonna get a rude awakening once they get into the real world. Because the real world is nasty, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's nasty. If you're not ready for it or even prepared, you're gonna be fucking eaten up and spit out.
Yeah, it's just, mental health is such an important thing right now. My wife works in that industry. It's a constant thing, right? You're hearing all across high schools, middle schools, elementaries now are even starting. So it's like, man, accountability is a good word for it, because it's just like for me. For my kids, like especially when it comes to school, for Mia, it's like really like, hey, why'd you get like 3 out of 5? Like, let's work on this, right? We're not gonna slide. You're not gonna go watch TV.
Yep,
we're gonna fix this right now.
Right?
Yeah. What do you mean you're gonna go watch TV?
Yeah.
No, that's not how I play. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So let's figure it out together. And and it's also the accountability of the parent too, right? If you want to raise them a certain way, so be it, right? I can only speak for what happens in my household.
Yep.
Education, both of these girls are going to come to a high school that both parents went to college. Yes, he has a master's degree, so education is going to be placed really high in this household, right? Almost secondary to sports. And I love, our kids playing sports, but it's, their accountability is a great word.
Yep.
To put it off.
Yep. All right. So I do want to say thank you guys. I really want to do this again.
For sure.
Because we didn't get to all the questions that I wanted to get to, but we're running out of time. So I do want to say, for Vince, as a man growing up, thank you. You as well, being in my corner all the time. Watching us grow as into men, and even further than that, is great. And I just can't wait for all our kids to be grown and off, and we're still coming together and shooting the shit and stuff like that. But they always say, like, it doesn't matter how long you don't talk. Your friends are your friends when you get together, and it's like you never were gone.
Roots run deep.
Yes,
for sure.
Roots, the leaves change colors. It may go through the wind.
Yeah,
but roots run deep. Yeah. So
for sure, it's thank you so much for having us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
thank you.
It's incredible to see a platform that allows guys, men specifically, to talk about certain things. And mental health is huge, right? More than we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
In our population. So it's I appreciate you bringing us together, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to talk, and I still don't like how you did like the Michael Jackson. Like, it was just in my head, like really like all the hardest songs too.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the reason why I created this podcast. I think when I first started it, it was more towards current events. That's what I wanted to talk about. And we wanted to put mental health in there, but as soon as I started understanding that, having a platform to talk about your problems that everyone has, which is mental health, is a lot of people have those problems, but nobody talks about it, right? You have these, people who are celebrities and stuff like that have, their shows and stuff like that. But I'm talking about real world problems, bro. Like our level of problems, people talk about celebrity mental health and all that stuff. That's high money problems. Yeah. We're talking about fucking, middle class, poor working problems, right? And that's all I wanted. I wanted to, I didn't care. I don't care if this podcast gets, famous or whatever. I just wanted to be able to come on this show or whatever and have people on who want to talk and speak their truth, because then it helps them as well, right? Not only me, but we get to learn stuff, but you also get to speak it. And a lot of people don't get to do that, right? So yeah, man, we're getting to the end of, again, thank you guys for coming. So we're getting to the end, and I have 5 fast questions. Did we do this with you last time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then we're going to do 5 fast questions. I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and the first thing that pops in your mind is your answer. All right?
Okay.
So here we go. First question is, movie on repeat.
Sandlot.
Describe yourself in one word.
Funny.
Liquid or beer? I mean, liquid. Liquor or beer?
Liquor.
What's your favorite liquor?
Right now, tequila.
Favorite place to eat?
Uncle Tim's. Shout out Uncle Tim's.
Song that gets you hype?
Oh, shoot. That. Till this day, if you put it on, Tell Me When to Go by E40.
Why did I just have...
Dude, if you put that on, I grow dreads. Like, out of nowhere. Like, dreads grow. I get, like, a grill.
The Room pops out out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, it's just crazy.
Toe tap. Shout out to Room. Toe tap.
He's in Nashville now.
Huh?
Yeah,
he's Nashville?
He's in Nashville,
hey,
Tennessee.
We should go, bro. Let's go.
You guys want to go to Nashville?
Let's do it.
I'm down.
I'm down,
line
bro.
dancing?
Hell yeah. That'd be dope. Shout out to Room. Toe tapping.
Room
The funny thing is,
weave.
I was looking at old videos, and I remember when I sent him a video of my one of my nieces. I was showing her how to toe tap, and she was just toe tapping with her son. That was just hilarious. But yeah, shout out to Room. Again, thank you guys. We get to the end of our pod, and I leave you with this. I have one quote, and this is for the topic of what we were talking about today. The hardest part about being a father is realizing you are raising the ones you can't live without to be able to live without you.
Wow.
That's heavy. That's super heavy.
Yeah. That was when I saw that, I was like, it's perfect for this pod. Because we're all fathers, and we're doing basically not when I read that, it just, dog, I was like, bruh, it hits home.
Yeah.
It's real. That's real life. Because I'm going through that right now with, my grandparents who raised me. Both of them are gone now. And just realizing that fact of it is like, man, at some point in time, they're going to have to be okay with me being gone or my wife being gone. That's heavy. So, but again, thank you guys again. This is 129 of the Werkz pod, Father Pod, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Back, baby. Shout out Juice on the beat.